Okay, welcome everybody. I hope you're wanting to be in this webinar for the Focus on Hydrogen R&D, the Clean Energy Transition Partnership. This is the funding brokerage webinar focused on the hydrogen call. Next slide, please, Alex. So just a bit of housekeeping. We are recording this and we will be sharing this after the webinar. If you can all keep your microphones muted and your cameras off, I can still see a few faces there. Turn off your cameras, and if you're speaking, just turn them back on again. Next slide, please. So my name is Natasha Madeira. I'm the ETP Business Development Manager for hydrogen. And welcome to the overview of the Hydrogen Research and Development Clean Energy Transition Partnership Funding Brokerage webinar. That's a mouthful. Next slide, please. So some of you may not know that ETP has expanded. So we are now part of SPIRI, which is Scottish Partnership in Energy and Engineering Research and Innovation, which combines the Scottish Research Partnership in Engineering and the Energy Technology Partnership. So I work for the Energy Technology Partnership, but really we're a much bigger group of 14 Scottish universities. So we now have a strategic integration of both these partnerships. So essentially we cover all the energy expertise and all the engineering expertise and facilities of 14 Scottish universities. We're here to support collaboration both between universities and industry and other non-academic organisations and internationally. Next slide, please. So, the slides are a little bit affected. I don't know why. So basically the mission is to work collaboratively with the government and public sector and industry, and we're looking to maximise impact in energy and engineering research and innovation. So we're basically trying to build on the existing areas and collaborate further, and so that we can Scotland can remain a sort of a globally competitive driving force in energy and engineering research and innovation. Next slide, please. So within these two research partnerships that I mentioned, we cover quite a lot of topics. So we have 10 strategic themes within energy and engineering, and we cover pretty much everything and across all of the universities. There are a lot of applied departments in all of these universities. And within the ETP, we have hydrogen and advanced fuels as a core topic, but hydrogen also comes in general energy systems as well. So it's more than just within that topic. Next slide. So we cover across the energy themes of the 14 universities. We have capabilities across the sort of enabling and end use states. So covering production, distribution systems, transport, heat and power and industry. So you pretty much have academic support and facilities for all of these areas for collaboration. Next slide. I am funded by the Scottish Government under the ETP Hydrogen Innovation Programme, and the activities we do are quite wide-ranging, from cluster building to commercialisation, internationalisation. We have an academic theme group, representatives across the 14 universities, and a wider theme group which we support with events and collaboration support activities. Then we also have funding brokerage, both within Scotland, across the UK and internationally, and this is part of those activities. We mainly focus on research and innovation, research development support. Next slide. So just to get on to the aim of the brokerage webinar, I hope most of our delegates are in now. There's 69 people in the room, but we have around 128 registered. So I'm hoping more will join us as we go on. So welcome to you all, and we have participants from across Europe, including Netherlands, Germany, France, Portugal, and Spain, I think, as well. So welcome to you all, and I'm hoping that this webinar springboards a lot more collaborations. We already have very good, strong collaborations across the regions. This brokerage webinar is being put on in partnership with Scottish Enterprises, Scottish European Green Energy Centre, or CEGEC for short, and a South of Scotland enterprise. Just to note, there's no Highlands and Islands enterprise regions included in this call, but normally they would not be included. So just to note that not for this funding round, but hopefully in the future. We're looking to bring together potential lead or partner applicants to the Clean Energy Transition Partnership R&D funding program, but we're focusing today on the hydrogen and renewable fuels call, and also focusing on eligibility for Scotland, France, Netherlands, and Germany. We want to provide collaboration support as well. So looks like my slides are a little bit corrupted in the change there, so I'm losing a little bit at the bottom there. So on to the next slide, please. Throughout this webinar, we'll be using the B2Match set of brokerage platform. And if you haven't already joined it, just click on it and just set up a basic profile, and you'll be able to connect with people directly, and you can add details to the profile later. You can also view people through the links we'll be posting in the chat. My colleague Jenny will be doing that. So you'll be able to see the profiles of the people pitching, even if you haven't set up that. But if you want to engage them and see further, then set up a quick profile so you can engage directly. You can also set up meetings via the promotional profiles as well. And you can add their details for your service and project collaboration opportunities, and for your individuals, your colleagues as well, under one company banner, as it were. So you can highlight the core topics that you're interested in and the types of partners that you're looking for. This is critical because it's much easier to find you on a search under the core topic if you do that. Next slide, please. So just a quick run through of the agenda. I'm currently doing the welcome and webinar introduction part, and then Richard Buxbaum, the Energy Transition Specialist from the Scottish European Green Energy Centre from Scottish Enterprise, will be giving you an overview for the partnership and brokerage platform. Richard is the Scottish CETP fund manager and the font of all knowledge for eligibility and technical questions about the types of organisations that can participate and the funding process and selection. I'll be giving you an overview of the hydrogen renewable fuels call, but also just a quick mention on two other calls for integrated energy systems, which hydrogen is relevant to, but we're mainly going to the detail of the funding call. We'll be putting in links to all of the information for further details, and that should all be on the event webpage. There's some documents there, and on the joining instructions, you should have links to everything. So there is quite a lot to cover in this. It will be quite dense, but we've sort of summarized the main points for you. So hopefully that's helpful. But please do follow up with the main documents for further details, and with myself and Richard. Richard will come in with an overview of the eligibility for participation in France, Germany, Scotland, and Netherlands. Unfortunately, Stephen Beja from the Netherlands is not able to join us today. He's had a family tragedy and has had to pull out last minute. So Richard will be trying to cover all of it for us, but we will be putting links for further contact afterwards. Please turn off your microphones if you're just joining. Thank you. Then we get on to the main sort of collaboration part then we'll have a Q&A. So you have some questions there. Please put your questions in the chat. Then we'll go into the company pitches and have a Q&A there, and you can link with them directly. As I said, Jenny was putting the links to their profiles in the webinar portals, the matching portal for you. Richard and I will just give some closing comments, and if you have any suggestions about what else you would like to happen in next steps, please put that in the chat, and we'll try and do something to support you following this webinar. This is just one stage in the process to help you pull together collaborations across Scotland and our partner regions in Europe. Next slide, please, Alex. So the company pitches will be from two companies who have Scottish and Dutch offices, Toyota Corporation and Cormorant Seaplanes. And then from Scotland, we'll have H2 Energy, Clyde Hydrogen Systems, Hydroluminant, HyCore, LH2 Europe, and Plus Zero. There's quite a spread of types of organisations there, larger projects, smaller projects, technology, and services to support projects. So hopefully we've got a good spread there. Please do introduce yourself in the chat, and also note the types of collaborations you're looking for in the chat, and connect as much as possible there. So please just take a moment just to introduce yourself within there and just say what sort of collaborations you're looking for, and hopefully you'll make some matches in the chat as well as on the Brokerage platform. Next slide, please. So I'm going to hand over now to Richard. I hope you're ready there for us, Richard. And Richard's going to give you an overview of the funding call. Please put your questions in there and we'll do a Q&A at the end of both of our overviews.
Thank you,
Richard,
Natasha.
put on your camera, please.
My camera is on, sorry. Can you hear me okay?
Go ahead.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you. Can you go to the next slide, please? Thank you very much. Thank you again, Natasha, for the actual introduction. I think you've overstated my knowledge, but anything which I do not know, I'll be able to reach out to my colleagues, both internally at Scottish Enterprise and the wider Clean Energy Transition Partnership.
You're so modest, Richard.
Thank you. Just really start with an overview, an introduction to Clean Energy Transition Partnership. I'm saying it's really in the fifth year since its launch. At its heart, it's an international research and innovation program supporting the delivery of annual joint funding calls that really invite people like yourself with our innovation and research focused outlook to submit applications against a number of thematic themes. I'll go through those in a moment. The themes are actually based on seven strategic different challenges, which are all key to the energy transition. Hydrogen is actually one of these, and that's why we're set up this webinar today. In 2025, the Clean Energy Transition Partnership itself is a collaboration of 25 countries with 40 funding agencies, together with the European Commission, who are all committing funds to support international collaborative projects, which will have that potential to contribute to Europe achieving its climate goals. So I always mention that European kind of wider outlook, because it's not looking just for projects which will have a small impact at local area. It is looking for those technologies which will make a big difference. For this year's call, Scotland have committed 3.5 million for our successful applicants. And I also want to highlight that CETP is not just about the funding of projects. It is also actually a platform where innovative organisations can share their experiences and knowledge through organising events and webinars, therefore supporting future development and collaboration beyond, again, those individual projects. When you actually come to apply for this Clean Energy Transition Partnership, you'll actually see a knowledge community work package. Participation is required, so you'll find out a little bit more about it there. Can I have the second slide, please? So, as I mentioned, there's a number of modules in 2025, 9 in total. When you're actually submitting an application, you'll need to select which one is the most relevant to you. As you can see, these modules are very broad. They cover energy generation, hydrogen and renewable fuels, carbon capture and utilization, heating and cooling, built environment, and different energy systems, be them industrial, regional, or system integration. Today, we'll be focusing on those which have that hydrogen component, as Natasha mentioned earlier on. Can I have the next slide, please? As mentioned in the opening slide, this is an internationally collaborative program. It's a requirement to develop and deliver a project together with eligible organisations from at least 2 other countries. So there needs to be at least a minimum of 3 countries involved. You can have multiple partners from the same country, but they will actually only count towards one of the countries you need. So if you know the Horizon Europe program, it's very similar to that in those ways as well. I mentioned eligible countries, kind of emphasizing that, since while there's 25 countries participating, or over 25 countries participating in the 2025 call, not every single country will be involved in each of the call modules. So as example, not all of them will be involved in the hydrogen module. So you'll need to double check that the module is being supported by the country or the partner you're wanting to approach. You may have also noticed on the opening slide that it's not just European countries involved in the program. With India, South Korea, Canada, and Tunisia all participating. If partnering with any of these countries, it's important to ensure that there are at least 2 partners from different EU member states or associated countries. For those of you who don't know the term associated countries, these are basically countries who have joined the wider Horizon Europe program and are part of the Clean Energy Transition Partnership. Scotland falls under this classification because the UK joined Horizon Europe in 2024. I also kind of raised that consortia have to be well balanced in development and delivery. Each partner has to add value to a project, and there are usually rules, well, there are rules about the maximum amount of person months an individual country or partner can have, therefore ensuring it's a truly collaborative program. The project will need to show the European added value and contribution to the energy transition, as I mentioned just beforehand. As the funding has been provided by national funding agencies, there is also a need to be clear benefit for each organisation involved in the project. If not, if a partner doesn't show a clear reason for being there, there might as well just be a subcontractor. If the Scottish funders are providing funding a Scottish organisation, they want to see the benefit for Scotland, the same for Netherlands and Germany, etc. Finally, on the slide, I just want to highlight that these projects can last up to 36 months. They're therefore a long-term commitment, with projects from this call actually not due to start until September 2026. Can I just have the next slide, please? I'm just going to quickly touch upon the call procedure. The good news is that while the Clean Energy Transition Partnership is supported by the Horizon Europe programme, the application process is definitely a lot less intensive. We're using a 2-stage application process, with the first stage being a 10-page pre-proposal. Like Horizon Europe, there'll be a section looking at scientific and innovative excellence of the project. There'll be a section where we'll be asking you to outline the impact of the project, and then also how you propose for its implementation. Each of these sections, when it comes to the evaluation, have equal weighting. So don't get carried away in one section and do less effort into the other sections. Just make sure that you've got good quality in each 3 of them. While the application itself is developed collaboratively and every partner should contribute to it, it's actually physically submitted online on an online portal by the project coordinator. So that's the person who you're wanting to lead on the application. Each partner will, however, also need to provide key administrative details themselves. The coordinator will invite you into the system in order to do that. Each pre-proposal will be checked for eligibility once it's submitted by both the Clean Energy Transition Partnership and the national funders prior to the independent evaluation by experts selected by the Clean Energy Transition Partnership. These applications then will be ranked according to the funding available and the scores, and if successful, you'll then be invited to submit a 30-page application, and then we start that process again of doing the eligibility checks, and then the project's going away for independent evaluation and scoring. Afterwards, I'll mention this a couple of times through today's presentation. If you are selected or during the application process, some countries will be asking for additional national forms to be submitted at different stages, just to provide additional background for them. Can I go to the next slide, please? One of the questions I often get asked about for the Clean Energy Transition Partnership is, what is a typical project consortium like? What does it look like? I always actually just say they always look different. A project really should be designed about the types of partners you need to fulfill the application, and not just adding in countries to make sure you hit that eligibility criteria. That would be seen very clearly by any evaluator. As you'll see on the examples on the screen, some projects are actually larger. They might actually all be of similar financial value, but they have a larger number of projects. The Drive project, which is a Scottish one, which involves Scottish partners, that actually has one of the large number of partners, I would say. As you can see, it's from 6 or 7 different countries as well. To the other extreme, we've got the second application, SEPRM project on the screen here. There's a lot less partners here, and they actually just managed to use those 3 countries minimum there. And finally, an in-between type of project, the bottom one. There's only one more project within that than the one more partner in that project than the example beforehand. But the number of countries involved are a lot more, with, I believe, Turkey being the only country actually in this project with more than one partner. So hopefully that just gives you a little bit of a feel of the mix of consortia when it comes to countries and size, etc. There's a QR code just on the screen there, which will take you to the past projects which have currently been funded. So you'll be able to find out other examples of projects across all the themes. Can I go to the next slide, please? Finally, when it comes to the timeline, we're working towards the 9th of October for submission of that 10-page pre-proposal. There is then quite a little gap between that submission and the projects being evaluated. As you expect, there's going to be, there's projects coming from over 25 different countries. So there's a large number for the Clean Energy Transition Partnership to organise the evaluation for. We are, however, ultimately looking through going through this whole process and reaching the start of a project being September 2026, or at the latest the 15th of December 2026. This will really, I think, depend upon the number of partners you've got involved and also the requirements of the national funding agencies. As I'll touch upon later on, Scotland requests forms after you've found out that you've been successful at that full proposal stage, and we'll only be able to confirm the grant when we've received all that documentation and it's been reviewed, and we agree that you're eligible for the grant at that point. Other countries have their similar systems. Can I just have the next slide, please? Okay, so I've just covered the Clean Energy Transition Partnership. We'll go into the module, and Natasha will go into the module in more detail shortly. But I've been asked to do a couple of slides on the matchmaking platform. The Clean Energy Transition Partnership is very proactive. They have their own brokerage website and also organise brokerage sessions and some of the modules. By signing up to the platform, you will also get notifications about project and program updates, including about future events and updates on the funding calls. And it's also actually, I noticed when looking at this, a lot of the funding organizations have representatives there. I'm on the brokerage website myself, as well as those who are actually leading or have led on the development of these individual core modules as well. So you can actually contact people through the brokerage website through that way, or alternatively for the national contacts through email as well. Can I just go to the next slide? So a little bit more details about the brokerage website. It's actually very flexible. It gives you the opportunity to search for like-minded researchers and innovators who are working in the area that you're interested in. You can search by the area of interest. So just on the screen here at the bottom, you can see on the right-hand side, there's a tick box I've actually just ticked, and that's focusing on the hydrogen renewable energy solutions. And there's 262 people registered who have shown interest in that area. So you're, rather than looking at the thousands, you're able to narrow it down by that. And if you're actually looking for people in particular countries, you can also filter down by countries. In this example, I've actually chose Germany and the United Kingdom, which I'll cover later on. Now, if you spot someone or identify someone you'd want to contact, you'll actually need to register on the website yourself in order to reach out to them, because that's one of the tools which is this website, the Brokerage site, delivers. And you can also, at the same time, propose meetings through the website as well. I would recommend, if you're actually creating a profile, that you do spend a little bit of time on this, because when looking through these yesterday myself, it's those profiles which people have made the effort to make sure they've got a little bit about themselves, more information about the company, and also if they've got any opportunities, making sure it's more than one line, because this is the first impression that you'll actually have, and vice versa, of an organization. So the more effort you actually put in creating a profile, even if you're just reaching out to make initial contact yourself, the better first impressions you get. And if I just move on to my final slide, please. The other part of the Brokerage website, which I've alluded to there beforehand, is that it's an opportunity to showcase both the projects that you're delivering, the projects you're developing, and also highlighting what type of partners you might need to find for that collaboration if you haven't got all of them as well. It is also a route to actually highlight the services that you've got. So maybe that you're thinking, oh, I'm interested in getting involved in a CETP application, but I haven't got a full project myself. You can showcase the services that you have through this. On the screen, you'll actually see some of the Scottish companies or the people who will be presenting today. And as you can see, the images, the information really does jump out to you. So this is a really, really good website. I would say from the profiles which we've had added up by Scottish partners, especially recently, our profiles really, really do jump out. So I'm hoping that everyone will get some interest from this platform. So that's my very quick run through.
Thanks so much, Richard. Yes, thank you. Thanks so much. Yeah, I just echo what Richard's saying, is that the more we put into this, the better we will be able to find partners. So please do join in and use it, not just for the Clean Energy Transition Partnership one, but also for any other partnerships you want for funding calls from European and UK. Next slide, please, Alex. So I'm going to do a race through the hydrogen renewable calls. Next slide. Jenny, if you wouldn't mind putting a link to the call text document, and you'll find on page 52 to 56 the overview of core module 5, which is the hydrogen and renewable fuel. So I'm highlighting here elements of this call, but there's a lot more text in there, and I do recommend reading it through because it does give you the context and it helps stimulate ideas about what sort of projects will be useful. So I'm just going to skim through this, and then we'll have Q&A afterwards. So the main part is that for this call is that it supports acceleration of hydrogen and renewable fuel technologies, and it focuses on clean production, distribution, storage, and end-use technologies that will help replace fossil fuels and reduce CO2 emissions. But the key thing here is that it's targeting R&I projects for the development and adoption of new and improved technologies. And this is for the efficient, cost-effective and reliable production, transportation, storage and end use of hydrogen and renewable fuels in residential, industrial and mobility sectors. It's a very broad scope. So the key areas are looking at cost-effective hydrogen and renewable fuel production, but it's also looking at infrastructure for storage and transport. So there's 1 to 3 million euros available budget for this. The target TRL level, the technology readiness level, at the end of the project should be TRL level 5 or higher. But if you have a technology and you're involved in the scope and your TRL level for your technology is lower, it's admissible so long as it's going to support the overall project end being TRL level 5. So as I said, details page 52 to 56, and there's a contact point there for that particular call. Next slide, please. So I mentioned in the call document, you'll see an overview about the challenges. It's explained quite well there, but the main elements is that we're looking to provide hydrogen renewable fuels to substitute fossil fuels in a competitive, safe and sustainable way. And these challenges pose not only at the level of feedstock and technology, but also looking at infrastructure, industrial involvement, capacitation, market development, market models, alternative market models, especially for renewable integrated systems, regulation and certification, and societal acceptance for faster penetration. So all these aspects could be considered, but you should be at least trying to support all of these in your project, even if your project isn't focusing on all of these elements. Key challenges are for upscaling production. Obviously, we already have hydrogen production, but we want to upscale with various kinds of feedstock in a sustainable way and at a cost that is competitive to fossil fuel derivatives. They're looking for transformative changes to delivery with technological development across the whole value chain, and also looking at the challenges for deployment and interoperability at all different segments within an integrated energy system. So this highlights a need also for further research and innovation to deliver these breakthrough technologies and new solutions. So there's quite a lot there. The challenges, I think, are fairly well known, but just that this call is trying to address those key areas. Next slide, please. So the core module is expected to contribute to a number of different aspects. So firstly, sort of enabling energy storage through hydrogen carriers. So we're looking at production through electrolysis and advancing a new generation of electrolyzers. Typically, we're looking at lower cost and higher yields in hydrogen production, and also more sustainable electrolyzers as well. Think about that. So delivering new concepts for renewable fuels and hydrogen production. A competitive cost compared to fossil fuels derived hydrogen. So, for example, non-pure water electrolyzers, water splitting through concentrated solar power, and hydrogen production from natural resources and solar fuels via artificial photosynthesis. The next slide, please. So again, further areas that is looking to contribute towards is implementing pilot installations, so looking at new concepts related to the value chain of renewable fuels. So that includes hydrogen to accelerate deployments and build technology confidence for societal acceptance. And this is a key point here. So working with communities and having regional and local systems will help build confidence for societal acceptance. Also looking at providing safe and environmentally and economically feasible solutions for fuel storage and transport. That includes the case of hydrogen using solid and liquid carriers. And we have people on the call today looking at the solid state hydrogen, also looking at providing technological alternatives for end use, especially in sectors difficult to decarbonize. So industry and transport. Transport is quite broad, so it includes aviation, shipping and heavy duty machinery related to various activities. And again, we have hydrogen aviation included on our pitch lineup as well. Next slide. So I mentioned there are other calls. So just a brief intro to the other two calls. So the call module 8 and call module 7, they're both on integrated energy systems, but one is for industrial and the other is for regional, and those on page 62 and 67. Jenny, I hope, has already posted in the link to the core text document there, so you can look at those. Again, they're similar, all those different challenges, all those different aspects you need to look at. So it's quite broad challenge, but focusing on that integration piece in those different settings. So the first one for industrial energy systems is promoting innovations in regional energy systems that significantly accelerate Europe's energy transition, and the focus is on enhancing the functionality of the regional energy system, so improving the interaction between energy systems components, the regional energy exchanges and different actors, including residents, businesses, the public sector and the transportation system. And with the integrated regional energy systems core, we're looking at integrated solutions across industries, energy sectors, and public and private sectors. So that aims to demonstrate a set of technological solutions for integrated industrial energy systems, and looking at the entire energy system, so the whole value chain and an integrated energy system there. So holistic approaches are key to this one, and how you integrate hydrogen into those, it would be an element of an integrated approach. So I think that's my last slide on there before we hand back to Richard. If you go to the next slide, please. Richard's going to race through the eligibility. As I mentioned, Stephen Beja from the Netherlands coordination organisation for the funding call has not been able to join us. So Richard's going to cover Scotland, Germany and France, and just a brief note on the Netherlands, and we'll provide further information for linking up with the Netherlands contacts post the event as well. Richard, over to you.
Thank you there. I've gathered some information about the Netherlands, so I will be able to touch upon that a little bit as well.
Thank you.
Okay. Yes, so can I go into the next slide, please? Just want to start off by highlighting, as applicants are being funded by the national and regional funding agencies, each funder has its own rates and eligibility criteria. So you've got to, when you're developing out your application, both look at those CETP guidelines regarding, the number of countries who have to be involved in the project, and the balance of the consortia. But you also have to keep an eye out for the individual eligibility criteria for each country. So I'm going to start off with the criteria for Scotland. The types of organisations that comply for funding are companies actually of any size, as long as they are legal entities and that they have their own operating presence in the eligible areas of Scotland. I'll touch upon on the next slide which the areas they are. If they haven't currently got an operating presence in Scotland, but are planning to set up one in the near future to deliver research and development activities, and these relate to the project, then it's possible for them to submit the application. Now will be part of the Clean Energy Transition Partnership, but they'd actually have to have everything set up by the start of that project, looking ahead to that 2026 date. Scottish universities or other research organisations in the eligible areas within Scotland are able to also apply, but the work being carried out by the research organisation should always be of direct relevance to at least one of the participating Scottish companies, and that always has to be a Scottish company and a consortia. The budget of the Scottish university or research organisation also cannot be greater than the combined total budgets of the Scottish companies who might be involved in a project. Just putting the emphasis on budget, not the actual grant value that you'd be looking for there. This is again to make sure that this isn't just a university or research project, it is one which will benefit the Scottish companies. The work itself within the project will need to be strategically important to the Scottish companies who are involved and in line with their actual business plan, which they have as well. As part of our eligibility process, projects will also be expected to demonstrate relevance to Scottish Government energy strategies as well. So it has to be relevance to companies involved and the wider Scottish Government strategies. This is to make sure that it does benefit Scotland as a whole, as the funders are from Scotland. Can I just go to the next slide, please? So just touching upon the eligible regions for funding in Scotland. These are the Scottish Enterprise regions and the South of Scotland Enterprise regions on the screen. So everyone in the various blue regions of Scotland there. The budget split is about 3.2 million for the Scottish Enterprise region and about £300,000 for the South of Scotland Enterprise region. If you're developing a project in the South of Scotland Enterprise region, which would require above the value of that 300,000 mentioned, please contact them through the email address on the screen. As Natasha mentioned, Highlands and Islands Enterprise are not participating in the new programme this year. If any companies in the Highlands and Islands Enterprise area wish to find out more, Highlands and Islands Enterprise would be happy to have a conversation with you and see if there's a project that you're developing that they could potentially support independently of this programme. The person to contact for this is Alistair Brown, and their email address is Alistair, ALISTER, Brown, BROWN, at hient, which is hient.co.uk. Can I just
I'll pop that in the chat, don't worry.
Thank you very much. And can I just go to the next screen as well, please? One of the first questions I'm very much asked about is the funding rates for Scottish organisations. These are higher than the standard Scottish enterprise rates, and for small and medium enterprise for research and development, for eligible expenditure, the grant rate is up to 50%. This decreases a little for larger enterprises to 40%. And for universities, public research organisations, if using a full economic cost model, you can actually get 80% value back of those costs. I always highlight, again, coming back to the point that the projects and the work that universities and research organisations are doing should be or need to be relevant to at least one of those Scottish companies, hence them getting a higher rate, because it'll be the companies who ultimately benefit from the work they are doing. I've also included some of the example expenditure types which are eligible for Scottish applicants. So these range from salaries to overheads, proportion towards equipment and subcontracting, consultancy, training, relating to the project, again, materials, trials, and IP, travel and subsistence and audit certificates. As you'll notice, some of these are only eligible to small and medium enterprises only. Can I just go to the next slide, please? Thank you very much. Just before moving on to France, I just want to highlight one other part of the process for Scottish applicants. As I mentioned previously, some countries require additional forms to be submitted. For Scotland, this is the case. Anyone who is positively evaluated by the Clean Energy Transition Partnership will need to submit a Scottish Enterprise R&D application form. If you're working with the Scottish organisations, this will be done collectively. You'll submit your own information, but there'll be a collective project proposal which you'll submit once you know that you've been positively evaluated by the Clean Energy Transition Partnership. Once that is reviewed, and as long as everything is in order and it's shown that you are eligible for the grant, etc., that is when grant would be confirmed at that point. So I'm just going to move on to France now. For France, the main funder is the National Agency for Research. Public research organisations such as universities, EPST, EPIC, as well as private entities such as companies, NGOs and foundations, or even public authorities can be eligible for funding, provided there is at least one French public research organisation applying for funding from the ANR. So requesting funding from the ANR, and they're involved in the consortium. They've also actually done something which Scotland hasn't actually done, and that's they've included a cap on the size of the grant that can be awarded, with the maximum amount per project being €500,000. However, grants to applicants can, however, be as small as €15,000. The expected typical funding request per project to range between €200,000 and €350,000, depending on the number of ANR funded partners and whether ANR funds the project coordinator as well. For basic research, The rate is 45% for small and medium enterprise and 30% for large companies. And for industrial applied research, rates start at between 35 to 45% for small and medium enterprises, decreasing to 30% for large organizations. For experimental development, innovation, the rate is the same for the SMEs, so between 35 and 45%. As it was for the industrial applied research, but for large companies, it's just that 35% 35% rate. For any other applicants who are applying outside the companies, they'll need to contact the ANR for specific rates for their types of organizations. Can I just move to the second slide, please? So there's a couple of other notes for French eligibility, which I wanted to highlight. Like Scotland, applicants will need to submit supporting applications. The guidance says that this will be at the full application stage. The ANR will also mainly support research activities at technology readiness level between 3 and 5. So that just fits into the hydrogen module, for example. Activities at higher TRLs than 5 are possible, but must be marginal for partners requesting funding from ANR. There is also actually one note directly referencing the hydrogen module regarding their terms and conditions. This is that for hydrogen production, the only green hydrogen production will be eligible for funding. So if you're working with a French partner and they're looking at other types of hydrogen production, it's got to focus on that green hydrogen to be eligible to receive funding from them. Can I move on to Germany, please? Next slide. So Germany follows a similar approach to the one described for France. They support companies, universities and research organizations and public organizations and municipalities. The funding rates are actually higher, with as much as 70% for companies completing industrial applied research. The other types of organizations can receive up to 100%. For the experimental development innovation, the maximum rate for companies decreases to 60%, with the universities rates also decreasing from 100% to 90%. They have identified that they will support technology readiness level activity between 5 and 8, which aligns with that hydrogen module. Can I go to the next slide, please, for Germany? Thank you. Other areas they highlight in the guidance is that the project must fit thematically into the current 8th Energy Research Programme of the Federal Ministry for Economic Affairs and Energy. So it's important that if you have any German partners, that they're cross-referencing that document as well. They highlight that industrial relevance and industrial participation are further requirements and eligibility criteria, which sounds very much like that requirement for Scotland as well. At pre-proposal phase, private companies, except those which are actually self-financing, must provide a recent business assessment and the latest annual financial statement. They may also actually get asked at this stage for additional documents as well, depending on what you've submitted. So that's the difference between Germany and Scotland there. At the full proposal stage, they'll also again request additional documents. They give examples of a German project description, credit rating documents, cost breakdown, information about planned exploitation, resource, etc. For both these stages, the supporting information needs to be submitted at the same deadline as the pre-proposals and full proposals. If successful, you then need to provide, your German partners would need to provide additional formal funding application to the funding agency through an online system, but they'd be contacted about that. I guess this emphasizes actually something which is important for all partners, never mind what country you're actually from. It is actually that it's really important to engage with the regional funders. Don't just concentrate on the Clean Energy Transition Partnership guidelines, really go down to those national funding guidelines. And if you've got any question, get in contact with the people on those lists. Can I just go to my final slide on Germany, please? Oh, I've actually got 2 slides. The other thing about the national German funder is that they've actually put quite a lot of detail regarding about what they will fund and then what they will not fund in the area of hydrogen. So they're actually really good example of ensuring that you're reading the details, the reason for reading the details of each funding agency. What they've highlighted is that the production of hydrogen from biomass and, for hydrogen module, they have detailed a number of activities which are not eligible for funding. This includes the production of hydrogen and biomass for natural hydrogen. They've also stipulated that they will not fund the development and production of fuels for vehicle propulsion, including pure hydrogen for fuel cells and synthetic fuels. But they also actually highlight exceptions. They highlight that research into hydrogen-based drive systems is eligible, but not for the propulsion of passenger cars. They also mention that research into system analysis and acceptance is eligible, but this isn't to be as the sole research objective within the project. So again, we're highlighting the German eligibility criteria here, but other countries will have similar guidance if it's relevant. Can I just go on to my final slide for Germany? So Germany has actually got two funders. So if any organization is based in North Rhine-Westphalia, they can actually apply either to the national agency or to the NRW. The amount of funding is actually quite small compared to the multiple millions which are available from the national funding, but there is 200,000 euros available for potential applicants. The type of applicants which can apply are very, very broad. So again, they cover all types of business sizes, higher education and research organizations, as well as public organizations and non-profit research organizations as well. Funding is quite generous at 65 to 80%. For industrial applied research, it again goes down to 40 to 60% for the experimental development innovation type of activity. For the universities who may be participating in this or getting funded by the NRW, they can actually get up to 100% for both those categories. NRW have also got quite a broad range where it looks at technology readiness level, looking between 3 and 8. But they highlight that basic research is not funded. Other eligibility criteria just for this region is a significant industrial relevance or industrial application of this project. And again, there'll be a regional application form also required. Anyone who you're speaking to from this region, they've got the choice, like I say, of submitting to the main national funder or more regionally to NRW. Thank you. I've got some notes on the Netherlands. I'm not sure if you're able to add the slides at the last moment. If not, I can just highlight.
Just give me 1 second.
These slides won't be as detailed as the other ones, but again, they have that QR code on them. So you're able to go directly to the guidance which is provided online. And actually with the French guidance, when I was looking at what they were doing, there's a link again on that guidance, which there's even more information going about what is eligible, what the requirements are. That is in French, so I had to use a translation to get some of the information I needed. So again, follow those links for what you're looking for. So just a couple of quick comments on the Netherlands. I was just looking at this before we joined today. There's actually two funding agencies, again, who are supporting applications from Netherlands. They've got quite a difference between both of them. But as you can see from the slide just on the screen at the moment now, the National Funding Agency is going to support industrial and applied research and experimental development and innovation activities as well. They're not going to support basic research. And from the list on the screen, again, it's very, very broad. All different types of businesses of any size will be eligible, as long as they can show that they can deliver the projects. And they're also supporting universities and public research organisations. So my impression is that other public sector organisations who aren't research focused wouldn't be eligible. But again, if you're working with anyone from the Netherlands, if you've got any question, do reach out to their contacts. There's also different types, different routes of funding. My understanding is that when you're actually going through the application process, you actually need to select a category of you select both the country you're requesting the funding from, but if there's more than one option, which category you'll be going from. And as on the screen, as they've in the guidance and on the screen, you can see that there's two different categories there. And they cover different technology readiness levels of activity. So the HEP, which stands for Horizon Europe Partnership, there's actually a maximum for 1 million, which people can actually request in an individual project. Other things to highlight is that involvement of a Dutch company in a consortium is mandatory. And they have to detail at both stages their commitment to it and what they're actually going to be delivering to the project. The additional supporting submissions will also be required again at the same time as a CETP application. If I remember correctly, when I was reviewing this, that is at the pre-proposal and the full proposal stage. I've got another slide just from the other funding agency here.
If you can just cover quickly so we have time for Q&A.
Yep, no,
okay,
yep, it's literally be about 10 seconds for this one. This is the Dutch Research Council, so they're just going to be supporting the universities and public research organisations 100%. There's a cap of 400,000 euros per project for this one, and they're actually only supporting 2 of the modules out of those 9 I mentioned earlier on. And the reason why I've included them is because it does include that hydrogen and renewable fuels module. And they haven't specified any particular technology readiness levels they're looking for. They're just aligning it to the modules themselves. And again, there'll be that need to submit additional information if successful. So that's a very, very quick summary of the Netherlands. All the details are available to view that via that QR code.
Oh, thank you so much. I think there's a slide, Alex, just with contact details. We just popped that up just now. Thank you. Thanks very much, Alex, for putting those slides in last minute. So there you have all the contact details for Scottish European Green Energy Centre and for Richard himself and Scottish Enterprise. Richard, keep your camera on, and Paul Wheelhouse from South of Scotland Enterprise, pop your camera on as well so people know who you are. So just time for Q&A. Pop your questions in the chat if you haven't done already. Just to start off, I can't see Paul. Are you there? I can see some.
I am. I'm probably in a different page
screen.
or something.
You're a different
I am
page.
here.
Yeah. So anyway, you're there somewhere. Other people can scroll on their computers to find you. So please just put some questions in if you have them for either Paul Wheelhouse from South Scotland Enterprise or Richard. Just to cover off some of the questions that we've had already. So Priya from the Power Networks Demonstration Centre, Strathclyde University, was just asking if all call topics would be funded, and so I've put back in the chat there. So it's all the calls should be funded by Scottish Enterprise, South Scottish Enterprises. That's right, isn't it, Richard? We're just focusing on hydrogen for this webinar.
That is correct. We've just taken the approach that we're going on the quality of the applications which should be submitted. So many of these crossover areas of interest, and as long as the projects are relevant to both the business and Scottish overall Scottish government policy, and the areas which we're supporting a Scottish Enterprise and South Scottish Enterprise, then yep, we're open to applications from all of them. I probably should also I probably should also highlight the 3.5 million is a total across all the core modules. So it's not 3.5 million for each one. That's why we've just gone for a total one, and we'll see what applications come in overall.
Thank you. We had a couple of clarification questions from Diana Hernandez from Simulex. So the first part was, do all partners need to be included in the pre-submission stage, which I think the main one should be, but how much change could happen at the second stage? And the second part of the question was, how do startups find the 50% match? So I covered a little bit in the chat, but if you have any other areas there, both Paul and Richard, if you have any comments on that, it would be great.
Yes, I was just trying to get my thoughts together there for a second. So the idea is, ideally, you'll have all the partners at the pre-proposal stage within the application. This is actually quite important because within that application, each partner will be indicating the budget they're requesting, as well as the activities what they're doing. This therefore gives an indication of what the demand is for each funding agencies, because we can't take everyone through. There's a certain cap on the number of applications based on overall value, which each funder will take through. I think it's 4 times whatever they're committing to the funding call. So I wouldn't say it would be viewed on positively if there is you suddenly have to ask for more money. There'll be questions asked about that between stage 1 and stage 2. You can make slight changes. There is a possibility of, if needed, making changes in the partnership, but you'd always have to get agreement with the funding agencies. And then sometimes there's undersubscribed countries where they'll also accept you inviting partners from those countries into the proposal as well. Regarding the match, I don't know, Paul, if you've got anything you'd like to add for that. I've got a couple of comments, but I don't know if you've got something you'd like to say.
Fire away, Richard. You've had more projects than us, so your experience is definitely going to be more relevant here.
I always, when I'm thinking about this, describing about what companies might be doing already. So one of the biggest costs quite often is staff costs. So if you've already got the staff actually already involved in the project, but you're not being resourcing them, they're not being resourced allocated to that project, those expenditures already going out. So it's looking about really what you're already spending, what you'll be allocating to the project, and that would, I guess, decrease the amount of money you'd actually be needing to physically find in, for the project itself. There's also the overheads as well, which will contribute to the project. Unfortunately, yeah, you don't need to. Unfortunately, you will need to find some way to fund the costs which aren't covered by the grant. And it's also probably worth noting at this point that the grant is paid retrospectively as well. So it's paid on the activity and proof of expenditure as well. So you'd always need to have that cash to cover certain stages of the project throughout it. You don't need to have the full amount at the beginning, but you'll need to prove that you're viable to deliver the full project. That's a very long-winded answer. And if there's any specific examples you want to ask, email myself and I can pass. I'll go to my experts, which is something I was referring to earlier, Natasha, to get clarity on the best approach.
Can I offer an alternative view? What would be a good thing for a startup is that you'll get 50% funded for something you want to do anyway. So in that sense, it's an opportunity. So basically, you'll get 50% contribution to developing your technology, which is your core business trajectory anyway. So it should be core to what you want to develop, getting involved with this. So in that sense, it's helpful, but people are doing funding rounds. I think it'll be helpful for some of the SMEs that we already have on the call to put in some comments in the chat about how you have managed to do it, because I know a lot of you already have some funding and are looking at submitting for this call as a partner or as a lead. So there are approaches that have worked for others. So please share your experience.
Thank you, Natasha. That's a really, really, really good point. It's the grant should always be for something which is core to your business and what you're wanting to achieve. It's a challenge to raise that additional money, but we're actually helping you if you're successful. You know, we're making a large contribution to you raising that 100% which you actually need to deliver something you want.
Just going to chip in, Richard and Natasha, that I suppose it's worth having a conversation with either Scottish Enterprise or ourselves as well. We may be aware of funders, potential funders, private sector, either investors, venture capitalists and like that may be interested in projects. So it's just about making us aware. So don't let that be a barrier to having a conversation. And we can see if there's something else out there that we're aware of that perhaps you can tap into to find the match funding.
And I think you can also speak to the Scottish Hydrogen Innovation Network, Shine. I think Eva's on the call. Is it Eva Gillane's on the call as well? So there's also been a possibility to get support from the network. Eva, if you're on the call, just put some links there about information. But sometimes you can get support with trying to matchmake with investors as well from that. With the enterprise agencies and myself, we have some contacts with people who support in terms of investment, but again, it has to be specific to your core technology. So you will need to have a more in-depth discussion with a specialist advisor for that. But there is support out there. But if you have an SME and you're trying to develop a technology or a service, then you'll need to get some investment in to do that anyway. So it can't all be grant funded. You'll need to get some investment at some point. Thanks, Natasha Powell. And Natasha just put in a link there as well for Shine. So look on that and get support. We can also speak to any of us about it. Are there any other questions? I haven't seen any other in the chat. Have I missed anything? Oh, Stephen Lewis put in helpful example that you can claim R&D tax credits can also be paid on grant income. That's a good point there. And we did do some information to our members about the R&D tax credits a few years back, but I think that's maybe something that we should put out again so you can get money back. And Stephen's also put information about the finance companies out there who give a grant advance schemes, Rocking Horse and SBRK Capital. So imagine there's some others. So if you are putting into a funding bid, then maybe you can get an advance I guess that's if you are successful. I don't know enough about that, but Stephen Liu obviously has experience there. Are there any other questions? Any other comments? Paul, would you like to say anything about your specific region, focus areas before we move on to the pitches?
Happily, Natasha. Just stop me whenever you feel appropriate.
Give me a couple of minutes there.
You know what I'm like. You know what I'm like.
Yes.
The south of Scotland is obviously it's region at the southern strip, as Richard helpfully put up a map of Scotland. So we have Dumfries and Galloway in the Scottish borders. It's a population of about 5% of Scotland's national population, so just over 250,000, about a seventh of the land mass of Scotland. And we have a significant onshore wind fleet in the region, so around about 13% of UK's onshore wind fleet is in the south of Scotland. So we are a massive overproducer of electricity, so we're looking for energy intensive businesses and hydrogen production to locate to the region. Some great innovations in the region. Hopefully you'll hear some of that today, which would be really encouraging, but we're really keen to engage on hydrogen. That's why I'm here today, lead on Susie's work around hydrogen. And it's a massive opportunity for us economically. So we're really keen to support innovation in production and the utilisation of hydrogen in the region. But I probably should keep it short, Natasha. So back to you.
Thanks so much. Thanks, Richard, as well. So that's been a bit a whirlwind tour of the call. If you have any other questions, please do get in contact with all of us or any of us. I'd like to move on to the pitches now. We're a few minutes behind on that, but we do have time because we have one person back. Ian's going to come back in. If we could start off with Osamu. And thanks for putting up the slides, Alex. So if you can go on to the first slide, which has the order of play. Thank you. So we have links here for all of the profiles in the Brokerage Match portal. Jenny will be popping those in as we go through, but we'll have them and we'll share them as well. we should also have links on our webpage to the company web pages as well, but we'll share all the links to the portal too. So we'll start off with Chiyoda Corporation Osamu, and then on to Cormorant Seaplanes, Mark Sari. So they have Scotland and Netherlands offices, and then we're on to H2 Energy, Clyde Hydrogen Systems, Hydroluminum, HiCore, LH2 Europe, and Plus Zero. So remember your order, and please pop your cameras on, and don't forget to turn your microphone on as you're going through. Osamu, could you start with you, please? And next slide, Alex.
Okay, thank you very much for having me here today. So my name is Osamu Ikeda. I am a managing director of Chiyoda Corporation Netherlands. So I am in charge of the European market in Chiyoda Corporations. So first, I'd like to introduce the Chiyoda Corporations, what we are doing. So Chiyoda Corporation is a plant engineering company. Headquartered in Japan, but our business in global. So now our current business is more focused on traditional EPC, engineering, procurement, and construction for refinery, petrochemical, and also now more focused on LNGs. But also we are expanding our business portfolio toward the carbon neutral and also energy transition fields, such as hydrogen, CCUS, and e-fuel, and power-to-X, CCUS, etc., etc. So in this new business field, so we have mainly two phases. One is the engineering. So that is try to optimize the complicated value chain, starting from the production, transport, and utilizations. So the other phase is, okay, technology provider and also the licensors. So today I'd like to introduce the four field of technologies that I would like to share with you today. So first one is the hydrogen transport and storage technologies. So as you know, so there is several options for hydrogen carrier, such as ammonia and liquefied hydrogen, methanol, and others. So today I'd like to propose the LOC, liquid organic hydrogen carrier. So this technology is convert hydrogen as a liquid phase under ambient condition. That means ambient temperature and pressure. But also we are able to utilize existing oil infrastructure such as tanker, lorry, tanks, etc. to transport and storage as liquid form. So this is quite easy to transport it and also easy to develop the infrastructure itself if the kind of the existing infrastructure is available. So to apply this technology, so we are also support to develop the global supply chain, such as export from the Scotland to the Netherlands or Germany and France. But also not only for export and import, but also the regional and local hydrogen supply chain by using through the river or a train or truck. So in addition to that, so this is more good for the storage, so especially for long term and large volume. So this technology is quite suitable. And second technology is the hydrogen productions. So last year we are starting a collaboration with Toyota Motors. I think you know Toyota Motors is a quite famous motor company. So they already have a 30 years experience for the PEM fuel cell for Toyota Mirai and truck and buses. Now they are getting into the market for the electrolyzer using the PEM technologies. So they're developing the PEM fuel stacks, and then which Corporation is packaging, containerized, and also the including the BOP. We develop the we construct the plant for the water electrolyzers. So the Toyota has been already operated 400 kilowatt system, and then now under construction for the 5 megawatt standard module in Japan. So hopefully the plan is to start operation in next year. So then step by step, so the yes, scaling up for the commercializations. And third is the carbon capture and storage value chains. So in this field, so we're more focused on the engineering side. So starting from the capturing and also the liquefaction and transport and sequestrate. So we already have a multiple partnership together with the technology provider or transporters to enhance the CO2 value chains. Last is power-to-X. So I think you know, so power-to-X is quite a complicated value chain, starting from renewable and so CO2 capturing, and then combining the fuel and chemicals. So we are developing our own AI system to optimize how to optimize these complicated value chains, not only for the economics but also the carbon intensity and energy efficiencies. So those are our 4 key technology and services to contribute to each project. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you.
Thanks, Osamu. Mark?
Hi, Natasha.
Hi there, go ahead.
Okay, let me just, so I have a slight problem with my connection. There we go.
Are you still there, Mark? We can't hear you.
I'm here.
Okay, go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, hi, I'll start again. Hi, everyone. I'm Mark Sowry, the Head of Corporate Development at Cormorant Seaplanes Limited. We're based in Scotland and a wholly owned subsidiary of a Dutch enterprise. We're pioneering the Cormorant, which is an 8-seat electrically powered aircraft with a detachable boat hull, designed to serve remote communities which often suffer economic disadvantage and poorer quality transport connections. Our solution turns suitable water bodies and underused aviation facilities into sustainable hubs, boosting connectivity without compromising the clean energy transition. Collaboration is at our core. In Scotland's Orkney Isles, we've been a consortium member in the UK government-funded Sustainable Aviation Test Environment Programme, SATE2, testing how new solutions for aviation can work to decarbonise transport provision. This isn't just about cleaner flights, it's about resilient communities too. We're proving that regional air mobility has the potential to be both eco-friendly and transformative for remoter areas where depopulation and current poor transport links can threaten their long-term survival. We'd welcome discussing how to scale this vision together.
That's a minute.
This brings us to the Clean Energy Transition Partnership. As mentioned, Cormorant is an 8-seat electrically powered aircraft with an easily attachable boat hull. It represents a transformative step in zero-emission regional aviation. Combining hydrogen fuel cell or a turbo generator with batteries boosting in a hybrid powertrain, we're addressing the critical challenges of range, infrastructure, and decarbonisation for remoter communities. We're not just developing an aircraft, we're building an ecosystem for sustainable aviation innovation. Here are some factors that set us apart. Firstly, we have a growing European network. We have strong partnerships with academic institutions and technology developers in Scotland, France, Germany, and the Netherlands. We seek to actively expand these collaborations within these countries and beyond, because in aviation, collaboration is transnational. It's a fact of life. Secondly, we have technology integration needs. We are seeking partners who want to advance powertrain innovation. Our requirement is for a 180 to 300 kilowatt hydrogen fuel cell stack or an advanced turbo generator using hydrogen or sustainable aviation fuel. We also need certified or certifiable battery systems with in-flight recharge capability. We also need supporting components and auxiliary systems such as lightweight hydrogen storage, be that cryogenic or high-pressure gaseous tanks, piping, tubing, valves, and thermal management systems. Also, hybrid powertrain management systems and associated software are required. We have relevant expertise in certification and the certification process. Aside from partnering with us as a technology integrator, we can additionally offer advice to technology-focused organizations that need input from an aircraft development organization with respect to design, operating and performance requirements, certification practicality, and commercial opportunity. If your company specializes in hydrogen propulsion for smaller aircraft, high energy density battery systems, and the associated balance of plant required to make those powertrain systems work, let's discuss technology integration into our aircraft platform, our expertise in design and certification to facilitate the route to commercialization for your technology, joint grant and other funding opportunities, and future supply chain partnership possibilities. For next steps, why not visit cormorant.aero, our website, for more information, and connect today to explore potential synergies. Together, we can make zero-emission regional aviation a reality more quickly. Let's make that happen. Thanks, Natasha.
Thanks so much, Mark. That's great. So on to Eric.
Good morning, all. Thank you to Natasha and Richard for putting together this excellent forum. We look forward to telling you the story of H2 Energy. I'm Eric Brown, CEO of the corporation. We're based in Edinburgh, Scotland, and we are a wholly owned subsidiary of a U.S. corporation, H2 Incorporated. So our company was chartered quite simply to accelerate the adoption of green hydrogen as a primary and sustainable source of green energy and decarbonization strategy. To do so, we are aiming to actually re-engineer the entire value chain. You know, the problem we're solving for is that the existing value chain is predicated on the need to compress, liquefy, or otherwise move and store hydrogen in very cumbersome ways. This has resulted in a value chain that has its own carbon footprint, complexity, and cost that arguably is going to make the existing hydrogen economy never reach its fullest potential as a primary strategy. The reason we're all here is to obviously make hydrogen a primary modality for energy, and we are engineering that value chain towards that larger goal. To do so, we're assembling a set of complementary technologies that create an end-to-end solution, a closed-loop ecosystem, if you will, to allow us to do a really a superior value chain over what's available today. The technology stack in the H2 stack is comprised of three elements. Solid hydrogen carriers is our primary way to store and move hydrogen. These are stable at normal pressure and temperature, don't degrade over time, and have very low toxicities, a much better safety profile over any other form of hydrogen storage. The second element of our tech stack is device that actually turns that back into pure hydrogen gas at the point of use. So we're actually flipping the value chain and doing small batch hydrogen production where it's needed and only when it's needed. And then the third element of the stack is regeneration of that solid hydrogen carrier at scale using renewable energy. That brings me to the opportunities available and our CETP application. So the solid hydrogen value chain is really beginning with commercialization of our modular hydrogen devices, as mentioned. So there's multiple opportunities to deploy this technology across target verticals, including backup power, materials handling, and mobility, including aviation, road vehicles, as well as marine applications. And we have curated partners in each of those verticals to do demonstration projects. To give you an idea, our modular hydrogen devices, which are profiled on our website as well as through the portal, actually have achieved hydrogen densities of upwards of 7%. So you'll note that that's multiples of what you'll get from any gaseous or cryogenic application. The main focus of our CETP application will be the regeneration campaign. So this has been done at small scale. The basic research is done. We have a proprietary methodology to regenerate the solid hydrogen carrier exclusively using renewable energy, which is why our focus is in Scotland, where plentiful renewables, as mentioned earlier on this webinar, really represent an opportunity to use the regeneration of the chemical as a way to capture curtailed or excess renewable energy, thereby not only closing the loop on our ecosystem, but creating the opportunities for trade of that solid hydrogen carrier around partners across the European continent and more broadly. So we are looking at a global approach, but starting with Scotland as our primary place to do R&D and deployment of our devices. With that, I invite you to our website, h2.com. Downloads there for not only cut sheets on the MH devices, again, commercially available and open to integration opportunities with each of the partners we've discussed, and then also more of description about the regeneration campaign. With that, I thank you for your time and the opportunity.
Thanks so much, Eric. That's really great. And can we move on to Matt, please?
Hi, folks. I'm Matt Lees from Clyde Hydrogen Systems here in Glasgow. CHS is a University of Glasgow spin-out. We're an SME looking at taking our decoupled electrolyzer technology from the R&D developed here at the University of Glasgow through to industrial scale demonstrators and pilots beyond that. In the team, we've got about 20 years of hydrogen sector experience, here with Clyde Hydrogen Systems and also with ITM Power down in Sheffield. So we're well experienced in developing these things up from the core technology. We've raised about £1 million in support in Q1 2024 to help us take our technology demonstrator through to fruition. That should land this year, and to help develop some of the core R&D that underpins our technology. We expect our pilot timescales to be sort of 2027 plus, and the reason for this, for our appearance on this call today. Can we have a slide, please, Alex? So our technology is a decoupled electrolyzer technology. It still utilizes a membrane, but we have our hydrogen and oxygen developed in two completely separate locations. So we're decoupling the location of those gas generation points. We use a liquid chemical mediator, and that's a liquid electrolyte chemical rather than pure water. So we don't have a deionized water requirement. So we've got some OPEX savings there. And we can generate our hydrogen at pressure without putting any pressure or mechanical strains on our electrochemical systems. So we can increase the hydrogen output pressure for no increase in the cost of the electrochemical element, which means we can reduce compression requirement for downstream systems. We also decouple the power and the hydrogen generation rate. Our electrochemical step is where we use our power in our charging of our mediator. Our mediator is then pushed through a catalytic reactor where we generate our hydrogen system. So if we want to separate those two with a buffer tank, it gives us some inherent buffering, and we can decouple the rate at which we're using power from the rate at which we're generating hydrogen. So I give an additional stage of decoupling. What it also allows us to do means that we don't have hydrogen and oxygen either side of a membrane within our electrochemical cell. So we've got 0 to 100% turn down ratio on the electrochemical system, the high power system, with no crossover concerns or safety, looking at a more reliable, lower OPEX system. So that comes us to the services and the opportunities we've got here with CETP. We're offering our support and the integration of hydrogen systems either within the project or into the final consumers, the final users of the project. That's through design, review, install and commissioning phases. We've got a lot of experience from doing this through small academic research hydrogen generators all the way through to some of the largest electrolyzers in Europe. In terms of our servicing, so we've got a lot of experience on that side we're able to support other projects with. We're also got an opportunity for provision of our system for pilots. So we're looking for the opportunities for further pilot locations for use of the decoupled electrolyzer system, looking for hydrogen users, looking to look for prototypes or development systems where they can engage and understand and validate the operation of new alternative hydrogen generation technologies, where we've got industrial decarbonisation opportunities and support that, try and minimise the additional utility load they've got in these areas, the water challenges with our reduced water capability and the pressure hydrogen challenges. And so those combinations really we're looking for those opportunities, those projects, those collaborators where this sort of technology is going to be of interest to them. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Matt. On to Ken, please.
Natasha seems to be my profile there.
Oh, does it? Oh, okay. Sorry, I got it mixed up. Yana, you go ahead.
That's all right. That's all right. Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Yana Shibuya. I am a recent PhD graduate from the University of Aberdeen. I'm also an Enterprise Fellow of the Royal Academy of Engineering. I'm also CEO and founder of my spin-off company, HyCore, which is developed from my research in the PhD, where we are commercializing a novel hydrogen seawater electrolysis technology, or HyCET for short, to unlock hydrogen around the globe. So fundamentally, we are a specialized R&D company specializing in and commercializing systems surrounding hydrogen, energy storage, and desalination. However, we are currently mostly focused on our hydrogen technology at the moment. We are fundamental R&D strengths, but so we like to work with collaborators in process engineering, safety, and manufacturing to help us accelerate our technology. So what we see as a large problem in the hydrogen sector is the issue of co-location. So hydrogen requires a significant amount of freshwater withdrawal, but not only does it require a lot of fresh water, it also requires a significant amount of energy to be co-located near each other. And then not just those two together, but you also then need an off-taker. So this will be solved in the future through large infrastructures such as gas pipelines and water systems and plants, large plants co-located next to each other. However, in the short term, or when is that going to happen? In the short term, this may be significant costs. So what HyCore looking to do is bypass these through our solution, which you can see here as a model version of that, which is our containerized off-grid solution, the HyCET technology. It's a very unique technology where it combines a novel seawater battery into a seawater electrolyzer. So this allows us to install our solution on site or near site to the consumer and utilize fluctuating renewable energy such as solar or wind, but sustain a constant green hydrogen output. So this has significant savings from reducing infrastructural barriers, so removing the capex and opex of desalination, but also removing the transport and compression costs significantly as you're producing on site rather than through pipelines and transportation through, say, cylinders. We are environmentally minimally impactful, so we don't add anything to the seawater. We return it back to its nearest original state. And we already are partners on the same call for decarbonizing a desalination plant in Malta. So we benefit, of course, coastal projects, maritime, coastal industrial clusters, but in this case, an island nation. So Orkney in Scotland, but in Malta, in this case, Southern Europe, we're supporting the decarbonization of a desalination plant through a solar field. And so projects that we'd be most keen to look for, or partners we're looking for, is off-takers of our hydrogen to help us pilot our first kind of MVP. We expect to launch this in around 2027, 2028 time as part of a 3-year project for the CETP call. Applications would be, say, in the maritime industry, so decarbonizing ports, for example, through logistical vehicles, fuel for boilers, or again, fuel for ships and small vehicles. Similarly, for industrial projects, say coastal projects, those who are looking to decarbonize their process through integrating green hydrogen, we can support that by providing hydrogen. Small amounts. Our pilot will provide roughly 3 to 5 kilograms a day. At a strike price, we hope to reach around €6 a kilogram. But also, all of those companies who are already using gray hydrogen are looking to decarbonize their green hydrogen. We can offer a solution for sustainable, cheap, consistent hydrogen production through seawater. But of course, we focus on the coast as we use seawater, but fundamentally, we can offer hydrogen to anyone inland as well, but there will have to be, of course, transportation in that case. So we, of course, fit into this call, but we also fit into calls for module number 2 and 3, energy system flexibility and advanced renewable energies. So please get in touch if you're interested in getting involved in our project. Again, looking for off-takers and hydrogen and energy providers for our hydrogen production. Please click on my link to get more in contact, or I'll put my email in the chat. You can find me there as well. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Yanni. Just a note to those who are not presenting, just turn off your cameras. If Ken, can you just pop on for your pitch now, please? Thank you.
Hello. All right. Okay. Sorry.
You okay, Ken?
Issue there. Yeah. No,
right.
that's absolutely fine.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So my name is Ken Adams. I represent Hydroluminum Scotland, which is a wholly owned subsidiary of Hydroluminum. At Hydroluminum, we have developed a new technology for the conversion of aluminium into hydrogen, heat, and aluminium hydroxide. We are focusing on using end-of-life and waste aluminium, the stuff that's very difficult to recycle, and we're converting that in a chemical process into hydrogen and heat, and aluminium hydroxide. We are currently at towards a TRL7 stage, and we're working on developing a test area, a test and demo area in Scotland. We are looking for technology providers who are interested in benefiting this from the technologies and the services. The key area to acknowledge with Hydroluminum is that it is independent of the grid. We generate significant amounts of energy, so unlike a lot of electrolysis, we're not users of electricity. We're actually a net generator of electricity. The heat we generate can be used either for industrial applications or for generating the power for either ourselves or off-takers. And the aluminium hydroxide is produced for the first time sustainably. It's used in a wide range of industries across the country, on every country, and that allows us to reduce the imports and reduce the environmental impact of aluminium hydroxide. So I can think of the name there.
That's
yeah, so if we move on to the next stage, thank you. So we are looking to offer 2 distinct services. In particular focus to this call is the supply of green hydrogen, and emphasising that this has been produced from end-of-life and waste aluminium. It's developed in we add a catalyst to a water supply. The catalyst removes the oxide layer and thus releases the aluminium. The process is intensely exothermic, and as a result generates a significant amount of heat. And that zero emission thermal energy is very symbiotic with the aluminium in a lot of different cases. We are currently looking for two distinct areas. The first one is who we can partner with in Scotland for the Scottish project. We are looking at, as I mentioned, at a test and demo area, and other technology providers will be interested in benefiting from those technologies and services. And the second area we're looking at is, are there any international partners that could trial the end use cases for the heat and or hydrogen? Particular ports, harbours, industrial users, they are all critical to our process. We produce approximately 900 tonnes of aluminium per year through a single unit, and that process is 1 tonne an hour, 1 tonne of aluminium per hour. That's the equivalent of 110 kilograms per hour of hydrogen. So, as I said, we're keen to identify use cases for co-location and potentially looking at off-grid generation of hydrogen. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Ken and Ryan. So can Simon join? I know you've had trouble staying on the call, so hope you're okay now.
So my apologies. I think I'm still on holiday, so the internet keeps coming in and out. So I apologize.
Thanks for joining us on your holiday. Go ahead.
Well, it's a great pleasure, and it's been very interesting. And I'm very sad I missed a couple of the presentations. But if I just do 2 seconds on LH2 Europe. So we're a live project to produce at scale green liquid hydrogen on the east coast of Scotland. And it's an at scale project, so it will produce in 2030 or 2030 onwards 50,000 tonnes a year. And our main customers are in Germany, where we've got customers in the steel and mobility sector. All of those are on long-term, or will be on long-term take-or-pay contracts. We're a fully green end-to-end supply chain, so we've had to develop our own ship that is hydrogen powered, and we're working with a whole load of partners at the moment, including Scottish Water and SSE, and although we've just entered FEED, and although primarily we're looking at tried and tested technology, we're also very open to exploring with other partners new technologies to see if they make our processes more efficient, either in this first phase or in our later phases. And delighted to talk to anybody who wants to talk to us. Hello?
Hi there. Carry on. If you want to give a little bit of an overview of your services and the cooperation projects, you're welcome.
Okay, well, I think anybody out there, so the services are, we're going to produce liquid green hydrogen. So as I said, we're going through FEED at the moment, so we won't be producing until about 2030. But we will be producing substantial amounts. I think we're the largest current project in Scotland at any rate. And the services we can provide are obviously the supply of liquid green hydrogen anywhere that is near a seaport, and also we can potentially liquefy and transport other people's hydrogen gas.
Thank you, Simon. Are you cutting? Have you done, Simon? I'm just, because you keep cutting out. Are you okay?
Yes, sorry, my line keeps cutting out, but actually, I hope I've got my message across.
Yes, you
It's
have.
pretty
Thanks for
simple.
joining us.
I mean, I'm delighted to talk to anybody about our project, where we are on it, and how perhaps we can work with other partners. Thanks very much for listening. All the best.
Thanks, Simon. And last but not least, Rick.
Hi, everyone. Yeah, thanks for the opportunity to speak today. I'm Rick Mincham. I lead strategic growth and commercial development at +Zero, building hydrogen projects that replace diesel, create value from waste, and scale practical zero carbon solutions. +Zero delivers affordable low carbon hydrogen solutions to decarbonize our customers' diesel reliant equipment, maximizing efficiency and value in both hydrogen production and use through the utilization of waste streams like oxygen and heat. We're technology agnostic, circular by design, and are targeting the decarbonization of hard to electrify machinery as the primary end use case application. We operate as both a hydrogen producer, deployment partner, and product developer, following a sized to fit, local for local model that aims to co-locate production with demand in sectors like ports, remote communities, and forestry. Alongside our flagship hydrogen production projects like the Creed Hydrogen and Innovation Skills Development Center, we're developing our own hydrogen combustion engines, generators, and CHP systems, enabling hydrogen adoption today. So we get the next page, please. Our services cover the full hydrogen value chain, producing fuel, integrating equipment, managing deployment, and developing practical use cases with a focus on circular solutions optimized for efficiency by recovering heat and oxygen for added value. So the first opportunity I'd like to talk about is the hydrogen CHP system we're developing. So as part of our recently won CMDC6 project, supported by Innovate UK, +Zero is developing a containerized hydrogen combined heat and power system built around our zero emissions hydrogen internal combustion engine. The system delivers significant efficiency improvements over existing diesel systems, making a clean hydrogen solution more affordable and accessible for our customers. The CMDC6 project will take place at the Port of Leith in Edinburgh, where our CHP system will provide zero emissions shore power while capturing and reusing waste heat to support our partner Waterwhelm's forward osmosis water treatment process. There are many other applications, however, where the customer needs both electrical power and heat, including in ports, construction, aquaculture, agriculture, forestry, and district heating microgrids. We're seeking partners for real-world demonstrations to refine operations and enable rapid commercial rollout in 2026. The second opportunity is our Creed Hydrogen Innovation and Skills Center scale-up. So our flagship Creed project in the Western Isles will produce 150 kilos a day of green hydrogen by early 2026. This volume is already more than accounted for due to major projects like existing customer Balfour Beatty's gigawatt scale interconnector site. It will be the largest construction project in the island's history and is due to commence in the next year. Creed isn't just a production site, it's designed as a hydrogen hub for the region, training operators, testing new applications, and integrating with industries from salmon farming to heavy construction. Surplus oxygen will be used in the island's significant local aquaculture sector. Given demand and our sized to fit production ethos, we will be looking to scale this project up and are looking for technology partners for compression, storage, distribution, and end-use applications to scale Creed and similar localized hubs across the UK. So if this is of interest, I look forward to hearing from you. Many thanks.
Thanks so much, Rick, and thanks to all of our pitchers. You did a fantastic job there. I hope the delegates listening have found something of value they'd like to connect with, and you can connect on the links that Jenny has kindly been putting in the chat for you, but also we'll share this afterwards. If you'll all put on your cameras the pictures. If there are any questions from anyone, please post them just now. But my first question to all of the pitchers is just provide a comment on the types of areas or the types of countries or regions of countries that you would most like to find partners in, and if people from that region want to contact you, that we can pass that on.
Thanks, Natasha. I think for Clyde, it's anyone. It really is unlimited. We've got a couple of good collaborators we're going to work with within Scotland and within Netherlands, but we'd expect to be able to pick up any more collaborators that we need through Netherlands, Germany, France, Spain, across Europe, and the list already told. So we're really quite flexible on that front. It's about useful pilot demonstration locations where there's a real world use case for the hydrogen, so you get that validation and that practical feedback.
Thanks, Matt. Ken.
Likewise from H2, just echo those comments. We have partners in Sweden and France already, but open to collaboration with any other European partners.
Some echo there. Ken, you had your hand up?
Yes, I did. I'm just hoping to echo the comments from Rick and from Matt as well, actually. We've got a lot of collaborators in Scotland, and we're very appreciative of those collaborations, but we're very keen on moving it out across the other regions in the partnership.
Thank you. So echoey there. So turn your microphone off. Thank you. That would be helpful. Has anyone else got to particular areas or particular use cases? Yanni, go ahead.
So it's not to echo again, everyone's echoing, but we are very open to all partners, but for us particularly it's on the coastal, so maritime and industrial clusters on the coast is what interests us most, and island nations. So we have a collaboration project already ongoing we're applying for in Malta, and we're looking to also work in Orkney as island nations, but of course anyone by the coast could benefit from our project, and we like to pilot and demonstrate and validate our technology in those fields as well. Thank you.
Thanks, Yanni. Any others? Comments from any of the others? I can't see all of your faces, so just speak out, because the view for the screen is quite limited in terms of the video screens.
Hi, Natasha.
Yes, go ahead. Who's that?
It's Mark Sari.
Hi, Mark.
Yeah, just to reinforce what others have said, really. Yeah, I mean, we already have good relationships with organisations in Scotland, the Netherlands, and Germany, and France also. And we, being an aviation-related organisation, we're keen to foster those and look elsewhere as well within Europe and in a broader context, and also be mindful that it's not just the technology itself which needs to work. It's also the certification route from aviation, which is a critical hurdle as well, and we can help with that process, looking at certifiability, if that's a word, and speeding that process if that's possible.
That's great. In terms of sort of use cases, you're talking about locations and so on, are there any sort of types of projects or sectors that you think are priority sectors, although you'd like to partner from any region, but what sectors I think would be most crucial for the next steps of developing of your technologies?
From the Clyde side of things, anything we're doing where we've got the idea of decarbonisation. So if we're switching fuel stocks, or if we're introducing a fuel stock that's green, so green hydrogen, then those are the ones that are of most interest. We've got the capability to reduce other operating costs, a reduction of the water waste, or maybe a process of industrial water waste, reduction in compression energy requirements, or water processing energy requirements. So they can all feed into a general decarb, lower energy, more efficient industrial switch within operators. So that works very, very well. We'd love to be able to combine as many of those as possible, but that you get a rather unicorn style collaborator there. And so we're open to as many conversations as we can have with people who are looking for a novel hydrogen generation route.
Thanks, Matt. Ken, you got your hand up?
Yes, and hopefully I've got the sound sorted this time.
Yeah, perfect.
Yes, we've got a real interest because we've got the opportunity of taking our outputs, the hydrogen and the heat. We're able to do this pretty much off grid. We just need a water supply. So we're very keen on co-location with users of those technologies and to try and take it out there. Now, obviously, there's certain areas like ports and harbours, etc., that there's an initial and very clear demand for that. But we're really looking at working with industrial partners across a wide range of industries, across a wide range of geographies, if at all possible.
That's right. So having alternative use cases for your initial project in Scotland, and then adding in international partners to look at alternative sectors in terms of use cases. Right.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
No, you're absolutely right, Natasha. Yes. Yes.
Thank you, Yanni.
So beyond the maritime industry that we like to focus on, which does have a legal obligation now recognized internationally to decarbonize, we also specialize in off-grid applications. So if you think about niche cases where the grid connection is not suitable, or perhaps even large water infrastructure or hydrogen transport infrastructure is not suitable, then we're capable to provide hydrogen in off-grid locations in specific areas. And I think that's where we can show our strengths. Of course, it has to be a coastal, again, island nations is a big one, but any kind of off-grid location or project to decarbonize is something we would aim to support as well.
Thanks, Shani. And this off-grid and where you don't have good access to water is quite a common area that our participants are covering. Eric, why would you mention a little bit about that? Your technology can be anywhere, to be honest, can't it?
Yes, so that's obviously the core focus of what we're doing, is to be able to get hydrogen to the corners of the universe where the existing value chain doesn't serve. I mentioned that our beachhead market is, of course, backup power. We're also fully committed to getting rid of diesel gensets and offering a turnkey, logistically simpler hydrogen supply to either couple to a hydrogen combustion engine or a fuel cell. So we're not an integrator. So we're open to talking to tech partners who have, obviously fuel cell or combustion technologies where they're looking for a better way to get their clients a hydrogen supply that's denser, safer, and obviously easier to deploy. So that's our core market.
Thank you. And also, you don't need to have clean water as well.
No, yeah,
so
we can pull
it's another
seawater.
aspect.
We could pull seawater, puddle water. Yes, thanks for mentioning that. Absolutely. The chemistries are very flexible in our device.
Thank you. Anyone else want to comment? Sorry, I can't see, so just speak up if you haven't raised your hand. Are there any questions from the floor, from Richard or Paul, the fund managers as well? Any comments you'd like to add?
Hi, Natasha.
Hi, Richard.
I haven't got any particular questions for the people who presented. They're fantastic presentations, and will go over and look at them again for the recording as well. I'm just about to pop into the chat something I thought might be interesting though, is there's lots of talk about trying to find partners, etc. So I thought I'd highlight that Innovate UK also have their travel grant for networking. They identify particular events people might be interested to go to, companies. So I'm just about to pop information about that into the chat. So I just thought I'd flag that in case it got swallowed up.
Good point. And Avijita Karel are you still in the call, Avi? Avi can also provide support for collaboration partners as well from Business Connect and Innovate UK. She posted a link earlier on in the chat, but if you joined later, you might not have seen that. But again, please use our network, and you can contact all of these people through myself or Richard and Paul Wheelhouse, but you can contact Avijita Karel directly, and there's all sorts of supports for partnering and a mapping of hydrogen organisations as well across the UK. So even though you may need a partner which is a Scottish office, if the benefit to the country of the project is weighted to the benefit of Scotland, then there may be potential for also including someone that doesn't have a Scottish office. I think that's right, Richard, isn't it?
Sorry, I'm still typing away there.
Sorry to interrupt your flow.
So could you just repeat that?
Yeah, so I think there's obviously there's a criteria for there to be a Scottish participant to be funded, but if the benefit of the project is the impact's going to be quite strong in Scotland, and there isn't a Scotland-based company, but they can support the project, that they could also be supported or even set up a Scottish office somewhere down the line before the funding call deadline.
Yeah, if someone's interested in setting up a presence in Scotland, long-term presence, so not just for the project itself, yes, if they're not already set up here, but they would do by the time that the actual project starts. or actually by the time the actual, the full proposal deadline, that will be considered. But we'd really want conversations with the company ahead of that, so that we're aware of what their idea, what they're looking to do. There's lots of support, as Paul indicated as well in the chat, beyond the clean energy transition partnerships from South of Scotland Enterprise and Scottish Enterprise, and even though they're not involved in the call, the CETP this year, Highlands and Islands Enterprise as well. So yeah, that's just my nod to the wider support, and we're always really keen to hear from companies looking to locate in Scotland.
Thanks for clarifying that, Richard. Any other comments from the pitches? Any observations or any pleas for support that you need, or any queries from you on what is needed to support you going forward? And the same from the delegates on the call. Just before we go to the final sum up. Any other comments? So if there's nothing else, Alex, would you pop on the next slide, or 2 slides along? So Richard and Paul, you're welcome to join for this bit for final comments and observations. Paul, you put in some comments about the hot topics for the call in South of Scottish Enterprise region. Do you want to just expand a little bit on that?
Yeah, I mean, just to emphasise at the start of this that we're certainly open to any proposals, Natasha, but I suppose just reflecting activity within the region at the moment, I think hydrogen, certainly carbon capture, we do have a very substantial demonstrator project in region, which is going very well, a company that we're very closely associated with, and heat transition are probably the 3 areas that are most pressing for us in terms of issues, but there's crossovers. Hydrogen in relation to transport is very much of interest. Derivatives of hydrogen, such as methanol, biomethanol, other opportunities. So yeah, there's a lot of linkage between carbon capture and hydrogen, obviously, in that sense. So I wouldn't want to be restrictive, but yeah, it does reflect the bulk of the activity at the moment is in those 3 areas: hydrogen, derivatives, carbon capture, and heat transition at the moment, leaving aside the huge investment there's going on in onshore wind at the moment.
Thanks for clarifying that. And just to note in the call text under the calls, if you look at the footnotes, there's a lot of clarification about hydrogen derivatives there as well. So think carefully about that aspect of it. So it's not just pure hydrogen we're looking at advanced fuels and derivatives. So look at that and think about the partners that you may be producing hydrogen, but who would you need to partner with to do the next step for developing those derivatives? So think about that as well, and look at this core topic for definitions. Richard, have you got any comments?
Just one thing. At the moment, I'm very much focused on the current funding call, but the Clean Energy Transition Partnership is kind of like a 7 to 10 year long program. So we will be looking at continuing our involvement in the future going ahead. So if there isn't something which matches this year, the funding modules themselves don't change that very much. So if it's not right for you now, there may be an opportunity in the future. Not guaranteed. We'll have to see about funding and who can participate, etc. But if you're not ready this year, don't forget about the CETP, because I will still be hopefully around next year promoting the next funding call.
I'm sure you will. And also the collaborations for other Horizon Europe calls or Innovate UK calls, because it will take a year for this call to actually start. So even if you put something in just now, you may want to do it like a preparatory project before that. So contact us for those as well. Our ETP funding pot is just about to close, so you're a bit late for the ETP Hydrogen Innovation Programme funding calls, but there are others. So do contact us for that. So final words, just for the general next steps, please jump in, Paul or Richard, if there's other points you want to make. So basically, we're here to support. This is a process to try and get you to that first pre-application stage, just a 10-page document on the 9th of October, full application in the end of March. So consortia building, scoping and feedback, we can brainstorm with you, just talk through. Richard can look at the technical aspects and eligibility criteria and double check with other experts across Scottish enterprise and beyond. And then we've got the internationalization side of things. So the international partner search, there are organizations like Scotland Europa, the European arm of Scottish enterprise, Scottish Development International. There are networks there that can help find partners, as well as the portals that we're talking about. And then generally an Enterprise Europe network as well. So there's generally quite a lot of organizations within Scottish enterprise and with our partners to help you. And then the last part, knowledge exchange and network building for consortia development. You've got ETP and SPIRI and Scottish Research Partnership in Engineering to help you find partners in academia. Remember, academic partners will get 80% are funded, and they're there to support the company developing their innovation, technology or service. So their support as well, and they can also help with managing the bid and bid writing as well. They've got internal expertise for that. So come to us if you're looking for a partner in Scotland. Anything else, Richard, Paul, before we sign off last seconds? And thanks to everybody. Paul, go ahead.
Just a brief point, if I may, Natasha. We've had all areas of Scotland have been involved with SIETF, it's a Scotland-wide fund. There's a whole pipeline of projects. There's very strong demand this year from industrial clients, if you like, who are looking for industrial decarbonisation projects. So there may be potential for a role for hydrogen in that space. Not all the projects could be funded, but there may be opportunities to go to some of these projects who are looking for technology partners to deliver solutions and tie them in with potential collaborators here on this call. So we are aware of a lot of companies across our region. I'm sure it's true for Richard in the SE area as well, and colleagues in High that fit that space. So there may be people we can put you in touch with that are not on this call that have an interest in applying technology to their challenges.
Okay, so to sum up, last slide, please. There's loads of contact information there. We'll add more contacts. I see we haven't put you on there, Paul, or the South Scottish Enterprise one, so we'll add those as well for the follow-up. Thanks to everybody. And the final message is just speak to everybody and get support as early as possible. We're here to help you, and we'll do what we can to help you get involved in a project. Thanks to my team for helping and putting things in the chat and so on. And hope to see you at our next event. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.